What's up, guys? Welcome to Real Beats. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to arrange beats without a melody. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned post notifications on, make sure you do so because it does help out a lot. Let's hop right into it. So we're using the same beat we made in the last video. So if you followed along there, you can just use the one that you made or whatever, right? So we're going to have multiple parts. We're going to arrange it, do variation, throw in sound effects, transitions, and that's why I have a bunch of sound effects here, right? Because we have no melody, so we need to sauce up the beat a bit with just a little bit of effects. And yeah, that's pretty much all we're gonna do. And then I have a bunch of settings and stuff, and you do have access to all of this, all right? And I will link it. Right, so let's just go ahead and get arranging. All right, so let's go ahead and do the arrangement. And a warning, I might speed up a few parts throughout this video, just any part that is tedious, so just be aware of that. Because this stuff, to get this stuff to work right, you know, effects and everything, it takes time to polish it how you want, especially with stock plugins. So first thing, let's drag everything in here. If you don't know how to do that, you go to your pattern, you right click, go to split by channel, and everything will be in order right here. So first thing I like to do is pull this all out, and this is the easiest part. So I'm not going to overcomplicate it. So what I like to do is just copy this over for like the hook, right? Because we only have drums. We don't have anything else but our 808 and drums. Take out our drums, and then we're gonna make this one unique. And you don't have to do this, but I just like to simplify this part. And this one is actually really simplified already, so we could just do something like this. Okay, so you see how simple that is compared to the other one. Not a huge change, but there's some things that are different. So this is like the intro, okay, and then you can probably put a transition in here. I personally don't use transitions that much, but in this case, since we don't have a melody, I would put one. All right, so now this part is super easy. You just copy it over like this, right? Because there's no melody. There's no way to really tell what's the hook and what's not the hook unless you just take out every drum. All right, so we can try to mimic that by taking out something just to lower the energy on this part. And then sometimes I like to just leave this out. So this is how I would do it. Any way you do it is fine, but this is just how I would do it, okay, for the arrangement. And then I would just copy this over probably twice. Songs like this are usually like 2 minutes, so yeah, we're about 2 minutes, and then it would end like this. And then the beat would end like that. All right, so that's the arrangement. Now let's do some variation. Okay, so now for variation, this will be the same as if you had a melody, right? Except now you can go, if you want to, you go a little bit crazier. You can kind of do things you weren't able to do because when you have a melody, you need to worry about space, you know, and everything. But with this, there's so much space on it, you can kind of go crazy if you want. So first thing we could do is mess with the 808 right here. All right, so you click here, go to make unique, and it'll make a new pattern. So double click, and now you can kind of just add, you know, stuff if you want. So all right, that's enough. All right, so just simple things like you could either use the cut tool to cut it, right, or you can just do what I just did. All right, but just simple things like that, just putting things up an octave, will make a big difference. And then if you want, you can go on the hi-hats, make unique, and you can do this with any drum. All right, I want to keep this video short and simple, so I don't want to do too much and get carried away. But let's see what we can do with these hi-hats. Probably just speed the, like, add some energy to the beat by just putting these hi-hats in. All right, and just see how that sounds. Definitely add something to it, so we can keep it like that. We don't want it playing too much, so there's some variation, and we can probably do one more, maybe like, let's take this one and pull this over here, if it'll actually place. And then let's take this hi-hat, put it over here, and let's see what else can we do. We could do a simple version, which actually we don't need to. Let me delete that, so I don't want to do too much where it gets confusing. So this is our simple one from the beginning, and we could put this in here. So now we have a little variation. So now we're gonna move on to like effects and everything else that would kind of make the beat sound a lot better than just arranging and, you know, changing up a few notes. Okay, so now we're gonna do our beat chops and everything. Now, if you're a beginner, one thing I need to stress to you is be tasteful with how many of these you add. So I have a lot, that's just to show y'all, but when adding them, do not add them every second, every bar. Just add them at certain spots, right? So I will probably add maybe one here, two here, then one here, all right? You don't want this being annoying with a whole bunch of effects every 2 seconds, all right? So let's go ahead and I'll just show you kind of what this would sound like just with one of them on, right? And you could take it off and play the beat, kind of give it like a delayed start. Now, when you load these in, and I'm gonna just load them in one by one, do not do it on this part, the mute and the solo or whatever, the mute and solo button, right? Do it on the knob because you'll get a smoother transition from your effects. So right click, create automation clip, and I'm gonna just go ahead and do this for everything else. All right, so I just went ahead and color coded things and made things a lot easier to see, so that we can actually go down here and, you know, mess with these settings. Now, one thing you need to note is when you actually create an automation clip, what you want to do is turn these knobs all the way to 0. Because if you're like me and you forgot to do that, when you create an automation clip, you'll have to go and manually put everything down so that the effect is off. All right, and then the order matters as well. So if I were to play this effect here and then try to play this one, it wouldn't work because this mute effect comes before this effect. Right now, if I move this down, so just remember the order matters. All right, so let's leave that down there. And then we can just throw some on. Now I'm gonna give you one tip the only tip that you need to place these. So I have my grid on beat. So basically you want to add these effects like they're a clap. All right, so what I mean by that is the clap usually plays in between each bar, right? So like right here and then right here. So you kind of want to use that grid. So basically half a bar, right? So right here you can place one, right? And then right here you can place one, right? Or right before the clap sounds really good, right? So I'm gonna just show you what I mean, because when you get really into there, or if you played a sound effect, or if you played a beat chop or whatever too long, it'll just start to sound a little weird. I'll show you what I mean. All right, let me see. I think this one actually is supposed to play out. All right, so the timing of your effect matters too, because this effect starts on this side. It doesn't start here. Now, if I were to add something here, then you'll hear something right here. Right? But let's add that, put that back. All right, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and put some down and then just fast forward through that and just show you what I did. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so I went ahead and just placed these down. Now, I want to show y'all some things because you will run into issues, a lot of issues, especially when using stock plugins like Gross Beat. So if I play this, so like say if you want a tape stop effect to happen right like instantly at the beginning, you can't do that. You have to make the effect to do that. So you see this one starts at the beginning and it goes all the way to the end. But let me see, where's the other one? This one, you see I modified it because at first it was at the beginning and I wanted it to do a tape stop right here. You can see it doesn't even play, right? But the problem is that it's playing all the time. You can see the effect is playing. All right, and the next thing that you need to do is I like to just turn all these settings off. So it might be on 1/4 beat. I just turn it all off because to me personally, it just sounds a little bit crispier and like more responsive. It still has issues like you've seen, it just doesn't play. And then over here, again, this is why I recommend to use like third-party plugins for stuff like this, because you have like with another plugin, you could just place it down, place the effect down, it'll play smoothly, right? But with this vinyl, well, what is this, a startup? Right, and it's still not even that smooth. And you see I have to play it before. So these are things that you will run into, but I'll just go ahead and play it from the top. Right, you see it didn't even play my effect there. So those are some issues you'll run into. But now since we have this down, and you can obviously copy these down if you want to. So if you don't want to actually copy everything, you can just cut it. All right, cut it wherever you want, and then basically just copy and paste the effect wherever. Okay, I don't think I even used the beat chop. Yeah, so that's gonna be it. So now let's move on to the sound effects to kind of polish this off. All right, so now we're gonna do the sound effects. Now there's other ways to do this, but this way I'll just show you that if you do it the regular way without, you know, everything like this as it is, you'll run into some issues, maybe because of the effects that you have, right? So like these will play over your sound effects, which it could sound good, but sometimes you may not want that. So I'll just show you what that sounds like. You can see it stops it. So I like a little bit more control. So what I like to do is render the beat out. Now you could also route every sound to a different bus and then reroute that bus to the master and then just put your sound effects on a different track. But that's really complicated if you've never done that before. So what I like to do is just render the beat out. So you would just arm disk recording right here, go up here, disk recording, render it. And I use max settings or whatever settings your computer can handle, just use those. And then render it out, and then you'll get your beat down here, right? And now we can play our effects how we want it, and we can even chop the beat up to add effects in. And I'll show you what that looks like. So let's see, we could just wait. Maybe make sure we turn these effects off. So what I like to do is on the claps, basically on the grid. So you see these lines. So anywhere in between here, you could cut it. So you can cut it right here, right? And there's how you kind of know where to place these sound effects if you want to do this type of effect, right? And you can clean it up just a little bit, and then we can add an effect in here. Probably just put down here. Right, you can even make that effect longer by just holding it, but I don't really like that. So let's see, what else can we use? Let's use this, maybe right here. And I'm gonna use these bullet effects. Now I have these routed, or they should be routed to this track. And we have some delay to kind of mimic the sound of bullets, or multiple bullets. And we can maybe play these somewhere like right here. Just offset them and see how that sounds. All right, now we can do something cool. Let's see, we can cut it here, zoom in, just cut it right there, then move this. So now we can put this microwave sound in. This is like sound effects you get like in music videos. So probably start it like right here, and then wherever this ends, and make sure it's back on the grid so it's on beat still. Actually, probably, I think that might be good. You just gotta check your claps. So if you look at the claps, there you go. So now it's on beat. So you know the claps are on beat. And then we can even throw a penny in there, like some coins. All right. So now this is what it will sound like. All right, and that's pretty much it for the sound effects. That's all you need to do, and you can get even more creative with it if you want to. I'm just kind of demonstrating and showing you some things you can do with it. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully this helped out. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.